Hi there, welcome to Neppy Invest. So a little bit of an update in Estrella Resources. Lots been happening with this company over the past few weeks, and it's come to a head in the past few days. So for those who haven't been following the Neppy Invest story around Estrella Resources, so I was looking for a nickel explorer play. There's a few companies I was looking at, and just a chance that Estrella Resources had come to the point where I was willing to buy in at a certain price. And I was just lucky enough that my timing with my buy was just the purest luck. I bought right, sort of perfect timing. And they went into a trading halt on Monday, the 19th of October, in regards to announcement about some findings they had with their resources or their significant find they had a few weeks ago. And they released that announcement on the 20th of October before opening, which was on Tuesday. And the share price has been doing all sorts of things since then. So in this video, I'm going to talk about their findings, very quickly talk about their findings. So I'm not an expert in what they did. And then probably discuss more about my buy and sell strategies around what I did over the past few days. And I think it's very important to have buy and sell strategies no matter when. So 100% of the times, whenever you buy something, have a strategy about when you buy, but more importantly, have strategies of when you might sell. So I'll get into that in a second. But first of all, their announcements. I sort of wish we get sort of advanced warnings about announcements. You might say their trading halt was the advanced warning, but this was released around 9:40 a.m. and I was away from my desk at the time, so I didn't see this announcement until just on opening. And because I'm not a big expert in downhole transient electromagnetic findings, I couldn't really take anything away from this that would add any value to you. So I'm not really going to talk about their findings because I think you could probably find better experts on how to decipher this. And what I usually do in these sort of situations is I tend to either look at what the market is seeing, and if I don't fully trust what the market is seeing or finding, I tend to have a sell strategy. So in this case, I wanted to see how the market was looking at this, the initial market. But the problem with that is there's a saying that the amateurs open the market, professionals close it. So there's going to be potential that there's going to be a lot of exuberance around retail investors looking at this who don't quite understand it. They think it's going to be great. And then you find the share price opens at extreme highs. And then during the day, the share price really drops off. So there's potential of that. And because I thought that was a possibility, I decided I needed a sell strategy to be in place fairly quickly on open or just after open on Tuesday. So before I get into my sell strategy, I'm going to talk about my buy strategy. So I've talked about how there was no skill in the timing of this. It was just pure luck. It was pure luck. But in saying that, I did have a plan around the price I wanted to buy in at. So my plan was 10 cents. Now, 10 cents tends to be a fairly significant psychological price level for traders and investors because not only is it a whole price, but 10 cents is the price where we start to see changes in increments. So until it gets to 10 cents, the change or the increase or decrease in price tends to be by 0.1 cent increments. So it goes from 9.6, 9.7, 9.8, 9.9 to 10 cents. And then when it gets above 10 cents, the change in share prices decreases or increases by 0.5 cent increments. So after 10 cents, the next price is 10.5, then 11, then 11.5. I found in the past that 10 cents tends to be a fairly significant psychological barrier. And if it breaks above 10 cents, that's fairly bullish. And the share price, if the share price is rising as it gets to 10 cents, you're going to see there's a lot of buying and selling around 10 cents. It dips and drops below 10 cents, and that's what Australia Resources was doing. It closed on Thursday at 9.7 cents, then it opened at 10 cents. So it was just trading between about 10.5 and 10 cents because, again, that's a significant psychological barrier. So I decided to put in a bid at 10 cents to take advantage of that psychological barrier. and that trading between 10 and 10.5. I was just lucky that, so if there was any skill in this, what I would have done was wait for a significant volume burst, which happened at 11:40 a.m., and that would have been the trigger for me to buy in at 10.5 cents. So I put in the bid at 10 cents, hoping there was going to be sort of a significant volume increase to take that moving forward. I was just lucky that my buy was 8 minutes before that significant volume increase. So again, no skill in timing, it was just pure luck, but I did have a plan and a strategy around the buy price. Now let's get to the sell. So, so with trading halts and with these sort of announcements, I always like to have a sell strategy in place just in case. So a lot of my sell strategies, so whenever I buy in, no matter when, so for example, if I buy in a company and it's going to be put into my long-term portfolio, so I hope to hold that company for 5, 10, 20 years or so, I still have a sell strategy because it's always good to have some rules in place to sell, because selling tends to be the hardest decision you have to make when you hold a company, especially if you've got emotions, especially if the share price has been doing wonderful things for you in the past. It's always the hardest thing to put in a sell for a company you've been holding for a while. So it's always good to have a sell strategy or some rules. For instance, one of my sell strategies is if the story of a company changes compared to why I've bought in, that's a good sign you should sell. For instance, if there's getting good growth and that's why you bought in, if that growth is slowing or has stopped, that could be the trigger for you to sell. Another trigger for you to sell could be if you don't trust management anymore, which is something I'm going through with A2 Milk right now. So you could have a whole slew of different strategies for when to sell. I think it's good to have these strategies or rules and then just follow those rules if a company breaks one of those and then sell. In this sort of situation, Estrella Resources, even though I could hold it for 5, 10, or 20 years, I want to have a short-term sell strategy. And in this case, the short-term sell strategy was to sell half whenever it got to above 20 cents or so. I was just lucky enough that it got above 20 cents almost one day less than one day after I bought in, trading day that is. And I decided to sell just after open. If it opened above 20 cents, I would sell out around 22 cents or so. And I was just lucky enough when I put in the sell bid or sell order at market, it was 22 cents then. I was just lucky that there was a few buys that came in at 24 cents. And I was lucky enough to sell out half my holdings at 24 cents. So why half? It's all around the concept of free carrying. So what I want to do is, in this case, because there's a lot of uncertainty, I want to decrease my risk. And when I talk about uncertainty here is I don't know what's going to happen with the share price moving forward, how the market is going to react. So a lot of times I'll just wait to see how the market reacts. But in this case, I want to, because the share price has risen so substantially, I want to decrease that risk and sell out half. And that way, there's two benefits to that. The share price keeps on rising. I've still got half there to take advantage of that rising share price. If the share price falls again significantly, then I can actually buy more in later on once the share price starts to turn again, which seems like it might be happening with Estrella. So my strategy was to buy in just after open because, as I mentioned before, amateurs tend to open the market, which is sort of unfair on amateurs like me, but we tend to open the market and professionals tend to close. We tend to be more excited about announcements, and professionals tend to want to digest the announcements. So a lot of times you see the announcements when they're released, the market opens at the high and then share price strips back a bit. Not all the time, it's a generalization. In fact, when it doesn't do that, it tends to be more bullish. I tend to be a little bit more excited about the company. Announcement, that is. So in this case, it drifted between about 20 cents and 24 cents for half the day, and then there was a bit of selling during the second half of the day. That's I think some professionals starting to take profits off the table, and it went down all the way down to something like 15 cents at close. No, 17. 17 cents it closed at. And then it opened today, so I'm doing this video just after opening. It's actually pulled back a little bit more, got to as low as 13.5 cents, or maybe even 13 cents. So it's lucky I did sell at the top. That was all luck that I did sell near the top. But because I had a strategy, you tend to find out you become more lucky. Some might say, should I have sold out the lot at open or near open? Well, but then again, if the share price kept on rising, that would have been a mistake. And then the question is now, I can accumulate more, take my initial investment, which was $2,000, even my profits, so take that $2,400 and buy more in at a much lower price. So I can actually buy in at a greater quantity. The other thing I've provided here is right at the bottom there. I've actually got my list of buys and sells for Estrella, just to show that I actually did sell at 24 cents. And I've included here one of my other buys, a company called Energy or Empire Energy, EEG. So I bought that at 36 cents. That's much more of a slow burning share price increase. So I bought in at 36 cents. Last time I looked, I was at 40 cents. That's less volatile than Estrella. So Estrella is something I've got to look at constantly. And in Empire Energy, I might look at that once every few days. But that's in a good uptrend. It's sort of in an exciting area. I might even do a video on that later. So an added thing for you for those who maybe want to look at another company. Empire Energy is it, maybe. So that's all for today's video. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's all educational based and entertainment based. Hope you've been entertained. But anyway, if you do need professional advice, make sure you seek out a professional, because I am not a professional at all. I'm just doing this for my own educational purposes, and maybe for your educational purposes, and for some entertainment. So have a good day. Talk to you later.